I left because my husband almost killed our newborn son. He wasn't paying attention, and it almost cost him his life. My young daughter tried to save him, and in the process, she got hurt. I'm 25, and I've been with my husband, who's 30, since 2018. Together, we have a 3-year-old girl and a newborn son. But tonight, everything almost went horribly wrong. My husband has always struggled with paying attention, but I never thought it would come to this. The layout of our neighborhood is strange. Cars fly past at insane speeds, no matter the time of day. I was inside, folding clothes, when I suddenly heard my toddler scream, "Dad, help!" That scream, it cut through me. I dropped everything and sprinted outside. What I saw made my heart stop. Our newborn was in his stroller, rolling toward the busy street. I screamed and ran, my legs feeling like they were made of lead, barely managing to stop the stroller in time. My baby girl wasn't as lucky. She had tried to chase after him, and in her panic, she fell, scraping her hands and knees. I grabbed my baby boy, heart racing, and scanned the area for my husband. He wasn't even looking. He was talking to the neighbors, completely oblivious to what was happening. I was furious. The kind of anger that shakes your bones. I stormed up to him, shouting, unable to believe what I was seeing. At first, he looked stunned, but as it hit him, the apologies came. Tears, too. But it was too late. I couldn't wrap my head around how he had been so careless, how he could ignore our toddler's screams and not notice the stroller rolling away. I packed the kids and left, heading to my parents' house. They were on my side, but my husband just kept texting, begging for forgiveness, calling it an honest mistake. But I couldn't forget the terror I felt. I almost lost my baby because he couldn't focus for just a second. My daughter got hurt because he couldn't pay attention. I can't stop crying. Every time I think about it, the guilt eats at me. What if I was just 1 second too late? What if that had been the moment I would have been planning a funeral instead of a birthday party? I left the house because I hate it. It doesn't feel safe for the kids. And I was right. It's his workhouse. It's not mine. I can't run. I'm still recovering from a C-section. I'm only 6 weeks out, and the emotional strain of it all, of running to save my baby, tore my stitches. People keep asking why I wasn't watching the kids. I was doing laundry, like a parent does. He takes them for walks to bond with them. He put this mess in motion by not paying attention. This has never happened before, and I had no way of knowing it could. How was I supposed to know? Some people keep asking why I didn't get him checked out. I'm not his mother. He's 30 years old. Why do I have to parent him too? I'm dealing with a newborn, a toddler, and I'm still healing. The idea of taking care of him is exhausting. I don't care if it's his ADHD. If he had killed my child, the court wouldn't have cared about that. He would have gone to prison anyway. The comment was clear. I was angry, yes. But even more so, I was terrified. And yet, people still questioned me. Why was the baby in the stroller alone? Why did it roll toward the road? Wasn't I home? Couldn't I see what was happening? People don't understand. How could they? Most parents have stories of near-death moments with their kids. How could I know what was coming? Others insisted that my husband didn't mean it. That it was an accident. But even then, how do you explain what happened? He should have been more careful. He should have been watching. My toddler's cry should have been a clear signal, but he just didn't notice. I'm not here to accuse. I'm just trying to figure out what happened. The footage is supposed to help me understand, but nothing makes sense. The whole thing feels wrong. How could he have not seen the stroller rolling away? How could he be so far from it and so unaware? Everything is still raw. My stitches are torn, and I'm trying to heal. My baby girl's injuries, her scraped hands and knees, are still fresh in my mind. I tore my stitches running to save my son. I didn't even realize I was bleeding until I was in the car with my mom. My mom freaked out. She took the baby back to their house, while my dad rushed me and my daughter to the hospital. The footage from the neighbor's wife didn't make things clearer. It only made me more confused. My husband was walking with the stroller, and my toddler was in front of him. When they passed the neighbor's house, he stopped because our daughter saw their cat. But he left our baby on the road. He didn't even lock the wheels of the stroller. Then, he walked up the driveway, completely ignoring the baby. For 5 whole minutes, he didn't look back once. The stroller just kept rolling away. How could he not see it? How could he not feel the danger that I felt? The stroller just started moving. I couldn't explain why. Was it the slope of the road? Maybe the wind? My toddler was nowhere near it, so it couldn't have been her. Then, suddenly, the stroller rolled down the hill, and that's when my little girl started screaming, running after it in pure panic. Our neighbor saw what was happening, and he started chasing after her. When she tripped, he reached down, trying to help her up. But that's when everything went strange. The neighbor's wife appeared in her car. She slammed on the brakes, jumped out, and started heading back toward the stroller. After that, everything was a blur. The chaos continued out of sight, but you could still hear the commotion, the shouting, the frantic noises. My husband stood there, frozen, one hand on his head, staring off into space. He didn't move, didn't do anything while our toddler cried out in pain. It wasn't until I confronted him, until I questioned him, that the tears came. I didn't know what to do. Panic gripped me. This wasn't the life I wanted for my children. How could he just stand there? Why didn't he act? I still haven't heard from him, no texts, no calls since the video was sent to me. It's been complete silence. And the screams of my daughter, echoing in my mind, won't stop. That is a sound no mother ever wants to hear. I can't explain the feeling I had. My blood ran cold. I was paralyzed by fear. I can't bring myself to watch the footage again. It's too much. Update 2. Hey everyone. A while ago, I posted about my husband nearly causing harm to our newborn son, and I wanted to give you all a quick update. After reading your comments, I made a decision. Some of you pointed out that if I left him, it would end up in a 50-50 custody split. I couldn't bear the thought of that, so I made the hardest choice. I stayed. My love for him has faded, but I stayed, hoping things would improve. My plan now is to endure until the kids turn 18, then leave. But I'm terrified of getting pregnant again. The worst part is that I'm not allowed to use birth control, and I can't get my tubes tied. My parents, who could have supported me, are moving away, leaving me feeling completely trapped. Even though he's hurt me, my husband is still trying. He's doing everything he can to fix things. He shows affection, goes out of his way to create happy memories for our family. When I watch him with the kids, especially the newborn, I feel torn. Part of me wants to run, but another part can't bear to separate him from the children. He was so happy when I returned home, but I can't even look at him. He still calls me by my nickname, still looks at me like I'm the only one that matters to him. He continues our little traditions. When the kids are asleep, he sneaks out to grab ice cream, our favorite snacks, and sets up a fort on the bed to watch movies. Despite everything, my priority is the safety and well-being of our children. It's a hard balance, but I'm doing my best for them. Update 3. I made a huge mistake going back. I felt like I didn't have a choice, no money, no family, no real options. So much has happened in the last few months. Before our son was born, my husband started taking medication for his ADHD. But there was more. He was using meth. He was taking the kids on walks, hiding the fact that he was meeting with his dealer. Now it all makes sense. I can see it clearly in the footage, the way he was talking to the neighbor. He was acting weird, leaning oddly. I spoke to the neighbor, and he didn't know about the drugs but noticed my husband had been acting off. His wife, who works at a rehab clinic, said my husband's behavior was a classic sign of withdrawal. After a fight, I fled with the kids to the neighbor's house. They helped me book a flight to my parents. I'm with them now. I've spoken to a lawyer, and thankfully, my parents are helping with the costs. One of the things people suggested in my original post was to keep the footage. It's proving invaluable now. My husband has been sending me disturbing videos of himself using drugs, saying it's the only thing that helps him cope. He sent a video from our kids' room, shouting at me, saying it's helping him. Then he did something that horrified me. He took a knife and stabbed both of our kids' mattresses. He even slashed the side of my bed. I'm done. I'm not going back. He's sending me more and more videos, but I know I'm doing the right thing. One comment from my previous post has been haunting me. It said something like, I don't care if it was his ADHD. It's not going to fix anything. Honestly, that stuck with me. Some people think ADHD is a valid excuse for neglectful, dangerous behavior, and that's something I just don't agree with. I've learned more about ADHD, how it works, and it's given me a whole new perspective on the situation. But ADHD doesn't mean you should endanger your children. And that's what he did. There are so many questions about what happened that day. Why didn't my husband notice the stroller rolling away? Why didn't our neighbor see it either? Was my husband too far away to see it? I don't know. It's all confusing. But what I do know is that something was off. There are so many details I can't explain fully, but I trust my instincts. Something wasn't right, and now, the truth is coming to light. I've heard so many comments, good and bad, but what I can't shake are the people who blamed me. I was healing from a C-section, and I was trying my best. I was looking for help, not judgment. People asked, where were you, or why didn't you check on your husband? It's painful, because I was doing what I could. I gave him another chance, but look where it got me. I've been put in a situation where my children's safety comes first. I'm not going to make excuses for my husband. His actions were beyond what I could ever accept. To all of the people who supported me, thank you. You made me feel heard. Your stories made me feel seen. And to the person who sent me a hurtful message, I just hope I run into you one day. You'll regret what you said about my children. Thank you all for your kindness. Thank you for being there when I needed it most.